Hi, I'm Della.
And I'm Hope, and welcome back to my One Mountain Tea Room. I have not made a tea room video in it's been 2 years. It's been a while. But I am no longer talking to you from my bedroom office. I am here now in my dining room, and I am with somebody super special. This is my daughter. And we wanted to come and talk for just a little bit about what it means to start awakening spiritually. Because I talk a lot and I've written books about ascension and kind of the waking up process and sort of what that can involve. And I've worked with clients in the past on how to assist with that and understand it because so many of us are in that place right now, but we don't always know what we're feeling is part of that process. So we're here to chit chat a little bit about it. So Della has blown wide open in about the past 6 months. She has really, really opened up psychically in her third eye and whatever. And it's been amazing, but it's been a struggle because when you start to step into this new life, you have to learn how to manage things and what that means and how you're going to show up in the world. So I thought it would be neat to hear from her. So, Della,
Yes.
what do you want to share? Like, kind of how did it first start happening for you? How did you feel? What were you kind of going through at the time?
Um, so when it started, I thought I was doing perfectly fine. Um, but then I was in my dorm and I noticed like weird like sensations like all over my body. And I eventually realized I remember seeing my grandfather's face, and him and some angels were helping me open my third eye. And I didn't realize why until a little bit later. So that night it happened, and I went to my boyfriend's house at the time the next day. And as soon as I walked in, I felt some very negative energy. And so I realized that my grandpa and my these angels were here to protect me, and they were opening me up so I could know what was going on. And I think when your third eye opens, it's really to like start changing your life path and get things going. And that's what it kind of did for me. And I started like a new life basically, and I have all these new things going on. And nothing is the same anymore, but it's a good nothing is the same anymore, if that makes any sense. So,
Which is classic awakening. So when you start to go through this, you may find that your life trajectory like really shifts and changes. People who are not kind of on that same resonance or path with you might fall away. You may start changing who you hang out with, um, and what you do, and how you feel about existence and being in the world. So that started happening for Della. It's interesting because Della is 18, going on 19 in December. So for her, this has happened pretty early as far as like the human lifespan goes. For me, it didn't hit until my 40s. But that's the thing about Ascension right now is so many folks are getting this, and some of them a lot younger than maybe in the past. Um, so when you started having like physical sensations and you could feel that something was opening up, like what did that feel like to you? Was it like a chakra thing, or how would you describe that?
it was almost it was like tingling in like different spots all over my body.
Hmm.
And it was in my face, it was in my arms, it was in my chest, it was down through my legs, it was everywhere.
And that is classic. That is classic. So, like when I'm working at retreats or with clients sometimes and I give them energetic attunements, that's exactly how that feels. So, usually I'll give energy through the crown so that it comes all the way down through the chakras. And so, something lit her up, and that's kind of classic opening more of your intuitive self. And then once you start to do that, it's common to start feeling physically sometimes connections with your guides or angels. You'll feel that. and sometimes you'll start to get like visuals of something like you're daydreaming, or it could be you just you may be claircognizant where you just start knowing stuff and you don't know how you know, but you just know it. It can come in many different forms, and it can be auditory too, because you've had some auditory stuff too, right?
Yes.
Where you feel like, and so when you hear the auditory, do you hear it out loud, or do you just feel like all of a sudden somebody's talking to you, like it's in your mind?
So there's only been one time I heard something out loud, and it was like someone was being very sweet. But normally it's like in my mind. So, but once you hear things out loud, it's kind of like you're hearing like a spirit talking, like how people would perceive ghosts. So that one might be a little more freaky to get like used to, but normally it's like in your mind.
Right. And my older daughter has always been very auditory too. Like she's just heard stuff. So our bodies are like a system of wires and energies. And so the way those energies come into us are going to vary depending on like what our physical bodies are. So has the awakening upset you in any way? Like how have you sort of emotionally dealt with it?
Sometimes it can be a little too much. It really just depends on the day. But you have to remember that you are in control, and you have to set your boundaries and say, this is too much for me, this is fine. It really just depends on the day.
And you really do have to learn to regulate it. And it takes a lot of time. It's not something you can do overnight. And I have shared with her that when this opens up, the best thing that you can do is to educate yourself. So I've given her a couple books to read. I recommend things here and there because knowledge is power, and the more you know, the more you can work with this, and the more you connect with people who are also awakening, it will normalize it for you. So it helps in that way too. So if you could give any advice or tips to anybody today about awakening, what would you say?
If I'm being completely honest, go into it smartly. I know that's kind of hard to like think about, but don't associate yourself with anything you don't want following you. So that means don't start talking to anything negative if you are opened up to that. Listen to your spirit guides, listen to your higher power, and go in the right way and do it. You got to do it the right way.
Yeah, because it's a blessing and a curse. There are days when I feel really blessed to be living this life and to be able to do healing work and things. And then there are days when I struggle because I will get information or know things that I can't always talk to people about. So it's really kind of a curvy path to learn to navigate, but we all have that in us to do. And I think the key is support and just stay connected to the light as much as we can. So we all work with some kind of archangel, like we have some kind of primary archangel affiliation because they help us on our soul path. And that depends, who it is depends on like kind of what we're doing right now on this timeline. So I work with Archangel Gabriel a lot, and other ones will come in and out, depending on what I'm doing and what's needed. So who are you primarily working with right now?
I'm working with Archangel Michael and my higher power.
Yeah, and he's such a great protector. So I'm glad that that's who's in for her right now. So, all right. Well, if you have any questions for us, I'm going to post this, comment on the post, and either one of us can pop in and answer questions, or just be here to support. So, thank you for tuning in.
Bye, guys.